What do I keep saying? Indiana Pacers win game number 3. Hate to say it, but I told you so again. I mean, all postseason long, man, Pacers keep cashing. They do it again at home. And after that first quarter, man, I was getting worried early in that game. I'm not going to lie. I know the Pacers have been the comeback squad this entire playoffs, but that first quarter was scary because it was like, I felt like we were kind of going down the paths of game 1 and game 2 and kind of felt like game 2 more than did game 1. But man, the Pacers responded in a big way in the second quarter. Third quarter, OKC does fairly well, but a competitive third quarter. In the fourth quarter, Indiana pulled away. I said it in game 2. I was like, it was just one bad quarter from the Pacers that lost in that game 2 in OKC. It was the second quarter where they let OKC go on multiple 9-0 runs in the quarter. Indiana bounces back in a perfect way in game 3. They respond at home, and now they get a chance to go up 3-1 back at home here in Indiana, and we don't have to wait multiple days for this game number 4. 1 day off. And I'll tell you why that really favors Indiana in a second. So folks, before we get into the prediction, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more NBA Finals predictions here on the channel. Also on the channel daily at 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern, our MLB best bets. And also on Greedo Plays MMA this week, our UFC Fight Night Atlanta predictions. Kamaru Usman versus Joaquin Buckley in the main event. So go make sure to check out that video and go subscribe to Greedo Plays MMA as well. We're hitting on a 74% rate this year in the world of MMA. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below over there. We are less than 140 subscribers from 1,000. Okay, so Pacers Thunder game number 4. Pacers in 6. Pacers in 6. I'm thinking Pacers in 5 maybe, but I'll go 6. I'll go 6 for now. That might change depending on how I see this game number 4 and think, maybe Indiana can go on the road and beat OKC in game 5. I don't know, but which would be on Monday, I believe. Taking the Pacers here yet again. I felt like the Pacers were in a great spot going back home. I really thought so. I only thought they needed to take 1 in OKC. We would have liked to, obviously, but they got 1 out there, and that was fine. That's all they needed to do. Game 3 was excellent for Indiana, man. I mean, you couldn't have not asked for a better game for the Pacers because it's not like, they just came back and they found a way to, come on in the fourth quarter. And obviously, they had another big fourth quarter yesterday, but it's not like, the narrative after game 1 was, yeah, Haliburton's clutch, but those, dumbass talking heads on ESPN like Stephen A. Smith are going to say, oh, the Thunder just lost this game. Haliburton, oh, he's a great clutch player, but he's not a superstar. And he's, don't get me started on Stephen A. Smith. Like, he's trying to start a feud with Haliburton saying, oh, better players have called me out before. I'm still going to be here. Like, dog, you're not the main character, bro. Like, get in there and make it about yourself, Stephen A. Smith. Way to go. Anyways, the narrative around game 3 is not that Indiana just came back and won. They won the game, pretty handedly. Well, I'm not going to say handedly, but they took the Thunder's best punches, they rolled with them, and they kept going. At the end of the third quarter, I think it was a real telling point in that game. Tie game with about 30 seconds left in the third quarter. I forget who hit the 2 for OKC, but I remember obviously J-Dub hits a 3 as time expires in the third quarter to put OKC up by 5 points. And in a game like this, 5 points is obviously huge. So OKC goes into the fourth quarter up by 5, but then Benedict Mathurin happens in the fourth quarter. Then TJ McConnell happens in the fourth quarter. TJ McConnell steals the inbound pass not once, but twice yesterday. Insane stuff out of TJ McConnell. I don't know what Caruso was doing the second time around, but plays like that won Indiana game number 3. And, Miles Turner is not going to wow you in the box score today. Okay, Miles Turner over 30 minutes had 9 points on 3 of 11 shooting, 1 of 4 from the 3-point line, and only 2 rebounds. But what Miles Turner did at the end of that game against Chet Holmgren won the game for Indiana. Again, there were multiple things that won the game for the Pacers. It was Miles Turner. It was Benedict Mathurin scoring 27 points off the bench. It was TJ McConnell's effort. It was Tyrese Haliburton being much more aggressive this time around. Obviously, it is Siakam as well, still scoring his 20 plus points, which seems like a nightly occurrence at this point. But really, to me, it was Miles Turner. That possession where Chet, I don't know why he passed up on the Lou Dort open 3. Chet had Lou Dort in the corner. Instead, he kicks it inside, I believe, to J-Dub. Chet ultimately ends up back with the basketball. Shot clock expiring. Actually, only still 6 seconds left. Chet pulls a 3. Turner blocks him. Holmgren gets his own rebound, tries to drive. He gets blocked again by Miles Turner. Miles Turner owned Chet Holmgren in game number 3. He just did. He owned Chet Holmgren. Brings up the case, should they be playing Hartenstein more? I don't think so. I'm going to be honest with you. I understand Chet, again, had a bad close to the game and was not good in the fourth quarter. Chet actually had a really good game as a whole, though. I know he can't shoot the 3-ball right now. He's 0 for 6, but Chet honestly did not do that bad. Again, in the fourth quarter, Miles Turner dominated Chet Holmgren, and ultimately, again, that's what kind of propelled the Indiana Pacers to win the basketball game. But early in that game, Chet was playing a really good ball game. I mean, again, you can look at the box score, obviously, 20 and 10. That's great. I don't think Holmgren played all that bad. I don't think Hartenstein's doing a horrible job either. But I really don't get the case to start Hartenstein over Chet. I think Chet's kind of I think Chet should be in that starting role. And I did not think he did a bad job. An adjustment I think I might see OKC make is they go Caruso instead of Cason Wallace. Cason Wallace did not do anything in that game. He really didn't. Wallace hit some tough shots, a couple, but defensively he wasn't great. I think there's a chance they start Caruso over Cason Wallace. Maybe. Obviously, Caruso had his lapse in judgment, obviously, with the TJ McConnell inbound pass. We'll see there. Another big factor, obviously, we need to talk about Tyrese Haliburton. He was the guy the media went after in between games 2 and 3, and obviously Haliburton responded. 9 of 17 shooting, 22 points, 11 assists. That's what, a top 10 player in the sport does. Again, it says all the time about Tyrese Haliburton. If he's not scoring points, there will be games where Haliburton's not going to always drop 20 points. It's what he does, okay? Haliburton is a pass-first guy, and I personally think, Haliburton should be more aggressive. I think, I just feel like he needs to be more aggressive at times. Because I think Haliburton, I don't think he obviously he doesn't play like this. I think Haliburton doesn't know how good he is offensively. When Haliburton wants to be, an aggressive scorer, attacking the rim all the time, obviously taking shots, he can be a premier scorer in the league. It's just that's not the way he plays. He's a primarily pass-first guy who's a selfless player, Haliburton, though, 4 for 8 from the three-point line, was much more aggressive in the first quarter, 22 points. That's the Tyrese Haliburton that the Pacers need every single game. And again, what I was going to mention earlier, even if Haliburton's not scoring, it is always his presence on the court. And I love that he played 36 minutes. I think he should be playing 40 personally. I get it. It does kind of affect what Indiana does. They are 10 deep for the most part. They kind of went 9 only in game 3 because Thomas Bryant barely played. But regardless, when Haliburton's on the court, man, even if he's not scoring, he is always a threat. All right, the defensive focus is always for OKC on Tyrese Haliburton. Their ball movement's better with Haliburton on the court. There's another threat on the court in Haliburton because of the float game, because of the three-point shooting, because of the pull-up now too. Haliburton, again, changes the game when he's on the court. That's why I do get frustrated at times with the TJ McConnell minutes, but obviously in Game 3, those are the best TJ McConnell minutes we have gotten in his entire stint so far as an Indiana Pacer. And another big point that's being made about this game, Game 3, was that Indiana actually had, Indiana's bench unit came through, OKC's bench unit did not. These are two teams throughout the course of the regular season. Obviously, much more attention has been on the OKC Thunder because of how historically great they have been, because they have 80 wins total this season. Obviously, 68 of those come in the regular season. But much was made about how deep their bench is. I did say this, though, going into the playoffs and during the Denver series, I still don't think OKC is as good as you think they are. I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is as good as you think he is. I think he's the best player in the sport. I do think he's going to be the guy who's going to win multiple MVPs. Yes, more than Jokic eventually. I think he's going to probably still win multiple NBA championships. If it's not this season, which I don't think it's going to be, I think the Thunder are still going to be a dynasty in this era. I firmly believe this. I just think this is their first, I think they're going to get checked here. That's why I've always gone with Indiana in this playoffs to win the entire thing. I've been saying this since the first round. Okay, ever since the Lakers got eliminated. We're not going to talk about that. No, I've been on Indiana to the finals for a while. Okay, the championship thing I got on pretty early in the playoffs. Anyways, they're good, but the thing is, Shai makes this team good. I've said this before about J-Dub, who had a good Game 3. Okay, J-Dub had a great Game 3. Scored 26 points, actually led OKC in scoring. Shai only had 24 points. But the fact of the matter is that Gilgeous-Alexander makes Jalen Williams better. He makes Chet Holmgren better. Lu Dort has been automatic from the three-point line this series. I don't understand it. He came into the postseason, or came into this series, shooting like 27% in the postseason from the three-point line. Lu Dort in game number 3 goes 4 for 5 from the three-point line, only missed his first three-pointer in the fourth quarter. He's automatic, but again, Lu Dort doesn't get open if it's not for what Shai does. and it's the double that, Indiana will crash inside when Shea attacks the rim, obviously, and that will open up guys like Lou Dort, like a J-Dub on the perimeter, hell, even Chet at times as well, to allow them to take that three-point shot. Same with Alex Caruso as well, who has felt pretty automatic at times in this series from the three-point line. Even Isaiah Joe, in limited minutes that he plays, Isaiah Joe has been pretty auto from beyond the arc. I just don't know why he doesn't play more, honestly. We're getting into, this is, OKC can only afford to lose one more game, right? I get it, Aaron Wiggins has been a better player throughout the course of the regular season. I think Isaiah Joe should be getting the Aaron Wiggins minutes. Isaiah Joe's been playing phenomenally so far in this finals in the limited spots that he is given. But again, Indiana's bench is so much better than OKC's bench right now, right? Look at the bench production that the Thunder get, right? Caruso and Hartenstein are going to play minutes, right? Caruso plays 32. Ultimately, right, he's playing the clutch minutes over Case and Wallace. That's why I think there's a chance OKC will just start Caruso over Wallace next game. But ultimately, right, the Thunder essentially are on a 7-man rotation, right? You're going to see Aaron Wiggins played some. He played 10 minutes in game number 3, attempted 2 shots, didn't hit either of them. And obviously Isaiah Joe, who played 4 minutes and hit 2 shots. Ultimately, though, OKC's running a 7-man rotation. I would think they're going to go to 8. I think Joe's going to get more minutes going forward, I would assume. But still, that's an 8-man rotation. I get it, Shea's going to play 40-plus minutes. He played 42 in game number 3. But Indiana's bench is just better. The big 3 off the bench right now for the Pacers has been Obi Toppin, Benedict Mathurin, and TJ McConnell. Obi Toppin's three-point shooting, he will never replicate game 1 in OKC, all right? I don't know how that happened. You want to talk devil magic for the Indiana Pacers. It's not that. They're just a great shooting team, and if you've been paying attention this season, they've been doing this all season long. Real quickly, the first game of the year when they went to Detroit, Haliburton had 5 points all game long, and he hit a 3 to sink the dagger. I think they were tied or up by 1. Haliburton hit a 3 in Detroit. He hit the shake after he hit the three-pointer too. Obi Toppin hit a corner fade three-pointer in Minnesota to win the game, and obviously Haliburton had the 4-point play against the Bucks at home on TNT later in the season. I don't get the devil magic thing, guys. They've been doing this all season long, just nobody's paying attention because this is a small market team and they play in Indiana, okay? I've been paying attention all season long, okay? I've been paying attention to the Pacers for the last 8 years. Shout out to Victor Oladipo for getting me into this team. Anyways, Obi Toppin, he'll never replicate that game 1, I get it, but man, the presence of Obi Toppin was huge. He's playing big minutes, 28 of them off the bench. He'll get into clutch minutes, man. When the Pacers need Miles Turner and Pascal Siakam to get a couple minutes off, they go to Obi Toppin, and sure, again, the scoring presence isn't always there at Toppin. He is going to make some silly mistakes at times, but man, the block that he had down the stretch, I think it was either against J-Dub or Chet, the big putback slam, Haliburton misses a floater, Obi Toppin collects the rebound and puts it back in and slams it back in. Man, oh man. I mean, this team, they are so difficult to beat. And they're going to win game number 4 as well. Because again, they took OKC's best punch in game number 3. They did. And guys, don't take this the wrong way. I love Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I do. I think, again, I said this going into the series, right? Haliburton and Shai are 2 of my favorite players in the league. I mean, I will not rank them, but it's Braun, Haliburton, and Shai, right? That's probably actually the rankings right there, right? Those are my favorite players in the league, right? I love watching SGA play the game of basketball. I've always been a Haliburton guy. But Shai's not smiling down 2-1 anymore. When they lost in Denver in overtime, he was smiling out, walking off the court after they lost in overtime to the Nuggets. It is so different now. There is no smiling for OKC. There is no, all right, we're going to be fine. We're the deepest team in basketball. We're the best team in basketball. No, the best team and deepest team in basketball right now is the Indiana Pacers. It just is. And I said this earlier, I don't think the Thunder can go to Indiana and win. Couldn't in game 3. And sure, again, game 4, right? Thunder got to win to pretty much stay alive because I don't think they're coming back down from 3-1, if I'm being honest with you. I think the Pacers are going to win the series regardless of what happens in game 4. I think they're going to win. And I don't understand, by the way, why the Thunder are an even bigger favorite now in game 4. We've been paying attention. OKC is a 5.5-point favorite, minus 230 on the money line. Pacers coming back at you at plus 195 on the money line. Like I said in game number 3, you can keep the points. We're taking the money line for the Pacers. They're going to win again. Haliburton's aggressive. This team's better at home as Indiana, which is crazy because they've been playing great on the road all postseason long, but recently at home, they were great. Their last 2 games at home against the New York Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals, they were great. In game number 3 at home against the Oklahoma City Thunder, held date back to game number 4 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. They ran the Cavs out the building in that game. They scored 80 points in the first half. Again, Indiana, and I really don't even think they're shooting the ball that well yet. They're really not. That's the scariest part. The Pacers have not gotten going yet from the three-point line. For what the Pacers have been doing this postseason, they still have not found their shot. So many big missed shots. Again, Miles Turner, I love the guy. Miles Turner missed a couple big threes in huge spots in game number 3. Pascal Siakam could not hit a three-pointer. Ben Shepherd, whose role is to just come into the game and hit corner threes, could not hit one in game number 3. Obi Toppin, I'm not expecting Obi Toppin to go, 5 for 6 like he did in game number 1 every single game, but he went 0 for 3 in game number 3. Toppin's due to hit a couple, okay? They're going to be fine, man. Aaron Nesmith only hit 1 3 in game number 3, and sure, that was because of the foul trouble that he got into. He eventually fouled out of that game. But man, I'm feeling really good about the Pacers. I am. And if they can stay out of foul trouble too, and this series is going to be dictated by the officiating. It always has been. It's always going to be. Game 3 is much more well officiated than game number 2. Because I said in game number 2, right? The Pacers were never allowed to get back in that game in game 2, right? Because of the tic-tacky calls, right? If those same calls the Thunder got in game number 2 happened in game number 1, the Pacers weren't going to be allowed to get their comeback, right? And come back, and obviously Haliburton hit the shot at the end of the game. That's why, for as bad as game 2 was at points, I still think the Pacers ultimately were just a run away, and unfortunately, they could never get on that run. You can say, oh, they were down 16. Well, again, they were down that much in game number 1, and they did come back, right? But they just were never allowed that comeback because, you put a hand on Shea, it's a foul, right? Caruso and J-Dub are able to hand check every single Pacers player. Those calls, again, it was called pretty evenly in game number 3. We'll see what happens in game number 4, obviously, because, again, it is the National Basketball Association. We're trying to make money. Pacers in 5 isn't the best outcome for them. They'd rather this series go 2-6 or potentially even 7. So we'll see, but I think, again, barring some officiating trouble, I do think the Indiana Pacers are going to win game number 4. My main reasoning, again, they're at home. Haliburton's been aggressive. Their bench is better. And I still think the Pacers have had a good shooting game so far in this finals. They haven't, simply put. Game 2 is not a good shooting game at all. Game 1, they came alive in the second half, sure, but the Pacers have still not yet put together a full 48 minutes of great shooting in the NBA Finals, which is a scary proposition. It is a horrendous or a horrifying proposition for the OKC Thunder. Your opponent still haven't gotten hot from the three-point line? Man, oh man, I mean, that's bad. And on top of that, too, like, how many 4 for 5 games is Lou Dort gonna have now? There's gonna come a game where Lou Dort's not gonna be able to bail out OKC on these bad possessions and just chuck up a 3. I just don't think so. I'm going Indiana game number 4 here. I think they win it. I'll let game 4 dictate what I think's gonna happen in game 5. Regardless, I think the Pacers win game 6. I'm gonna make the case, if this goes to 7, I think the Pacers are gonna win in game number 7. It's just what happens in game 5. Again, I need to see what happens in game 4 first and see, okay, do we think OKC can make the adjustments? Also, by the way, I failed to mention this earlier. 1 day off is going to really benefit the Pacers. Look at the end of the game that the Thunder had against the Pacers yesterday. Like 2 minutes left. The game's basically over, right? Indiana's up by 8, right? Nesmith hits the big 3. OKC, look at their body language at the end of the game. They are done. Like, they are depleted. They are tired as hell because the guys play big minutes. They don't have the bench strength and depth that the Pacers have. Those guys are, I mean, they're sucking wind at the end of the game. You only get 1 day off now. You're still in Indiana. You get 1 day off. The extra rest benefits OKC, a team that has an 8-man rotation who doesn't want to play as fast as Indiana. Indiana's been doing this all year long. They'll play fast in second halves of back-to-backs. They did that in the regular season all year long. That's just the way that they play. That's Indiana basketball. That's Rick Carlisle basketball in the Big 2025, okay? So the short rest heavily impacts OKC. Everything to me goes the Indiana Pacers' way here in game number 4. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a very competitive game, but like game 3, I think the Pacers are going to take the best shots from OKC. I think they're going to take their best punches, and I think Indiana's going to take them, roll with them, and the Indiana Pacers will win game number 4 of the NBA Finals and go up 3-1 going back to OKC on Monday night. So folks, thank y'all for watching our NBA Finals predictions here for game number 4. If you haven't yet though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with the pick. We'll be back regardless for game number 5. Video will be out on Saturday at 5 p.m. So make sure again to join us for that. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.